If you're a podcast host, listen up, this one's for you. My name is Allie Jackson. I'm the host of Finding Mr. Height, a dating and relationship podcast that I've been doing for 4 years now, sharing my positive and practical approach to dating that's built on my own life experience. And I wanted to share another experience that I've had, my secret behind monetizing my show. It's called Red Circle, and I was just telling my colleague about how much I love their platform. With Red Circle, not only am I getting a seamless hosting experience, but I also love the support I receive in ad sales. It's not just typical ad sales either. It's targeted opportunities based on my show and my life. And the platform is super simple. You just set your preferences and Red Circle matches you with sponsors that align with your show. You can vet every opportunity and their platform gives you great analytics. More recently too, my Red Circle team has brought me opportunities outside of my podcast on social media to really augment the podcast partnerships, bring them full circle. I just can't recommend them enough. If you want to give it a try, go to redcircle.com to get your free trial. That's redcircle.com for a free trial.
Welcome to episode 425 of the Find Your Food Voice podcast. Today, we are featuring a Dear Food letter from someone who is going bananas over the question, Mom, what's for dinner? And today's guest, Heidi Schauster, helps us unpack it. Let's get to it. Hey there, welcome to this episode of Find Your Food Voice. I am Julie Duffy Dillon, your host and registered dietitian. I am also someone who feels a bit bananas whenever my kids ask, Mom, what's for dinner? And today's episode features a letter from someone who's in a season of parenting where she's having to do a lot of the food prep and taking care of food decisions. One thing I can tell you as a dietitian, one of the hardest parts of being a dietitian is talking about food all day long. And especially when I was seeing clients talking about their relationship with food and taking care of their food grocery lists and all that. And then going home and doing the same thing for my family and myself. By the time it got to me, I felt exhausted. So if you can relate to this, whether it's now or in the future, or you've already experienced that, Heidi Schauster and we dig deep into help your relationship with food as you are taking care of other people in your life. Before we get to Food's letter and I introduce you to Heidi, I want to mention a few things. Namely, have you joined me yet over on Substack? I ask this because one of the cool parts of subscribing to my Substack, whether you're a free or paid subscriber, you get access to these episodes without dynamic ads. So if you would like to have an ad-free experience, I love when I have that myself on my podcast. You can join me over there on Substack. It's findyourfoodvoice.substack.com. And again, free subscribers get access to that. If you have the means to be a paid subscriber, you also get access to monthly deep dives into PCOS related topics. This month was a doozy. I had been researching for, I think, the last 6 weeks, all on GLP-1s and PCOS. And it turned out to being this mega essay. I had to actually cut a lot out of it because it was too big for Substack. So check out this essay. Even if you are a free subscriber, there's a lot of the essay that you do get access to. But by being a paid subscriber, it is something that helps me to be able to continue to podcast and write as my full-time job, support my family, and also help me pay my team a living wage as they help me put together all the things that go into making the Find Your Food Voice podcast. And while you're at it, if you do have a complicated relationship with food and you want more tools, the Find Your Food Voice book is available for purchase anywhere books are sold. And this is a book that I basically sat down and made a list of all the things, all the tools, all the strategies, all the things I did with clients when I would meet with them one-on-one. And usually this would take over a year or two. I put that all in the book. And for $20, you get everything that I would do with clients in a 2-year time period. This book, Find Your Food Voice, also includes listener letters, just like today's episode. And I love how it brings the voice of different people with different lived experience and their complicated relationship with food. So I have a link below to get to the book, but again, you can get it anywhere books are sold. So one more thing I'm going to mention is this episode's letter is an archive letter. These are letters that have been really meaningful. So you may remember it. If you've been listening to the podcast sometime over the last 10 years, you may have heard this letter before, but I pulled it out because it was very special and I wanted to revisit it. And so I'm excited for you to hear this episode's letter. But before we do, a quick word from our sponsor. Dear food, the worst question my children can ask me is, "What's for dinner?" It's a daily assault on my desire to avoid thinking about you altogether. For me to answer my children's question, I need to have thought about you. What would be tasty, what my children would like, what will nourish them. And then when I have thought about you, I then have to prepare you. I find this utterly overwhelming and exhausting down to my bones. Did you notice I don't ask myself, what would I like to eat? I don't know the answer to that question. I am so divorced from you that I don't know what I want when I feel hungry. And food, so you know, I have felt hungry for as long as I can remember. Here's what I do know about you, food. I know that it's not my fault I am fat, and it's not your fault either. I just feel like we got off on the wrong foot. My mom was scared of you, food, and did the things women do to keep you at bay. She did the best she could with what she had, but it's left its mark. I watched, and I felt constrained and angry. So I very angrily and defiantly ate what I wanted, but eating because you're angry doesn't lead to food peace either. I talk about you so positively with my kids, and I put on such a cheerful, food neutral voice at dinner and lunch and breakfast and snacks and all the times that we seem to talk about food. My children will never, ever know that you and I don't really get on. That is a promise. But truthfully, I want to not think about you. You make me so anxious and demoralized. Do you think you and I might able to make peace? Sincerely, tired caretaker. All right, dear voice finder. Before we get to chat with Heidi, I want to fill you in a little bit about her background. She's a nutrition and eating disorder specialist and somatic experiencing practitioner who helps people affected by trauma heal food and body concerns. Heidi shares ideas from her 30 years of clinical work, as well as personal stories about recovery, parenting, and embodiment in her newsletter, Nourishing Words. She's the author of the award-winning books, Nourish, How to Heal Your Relationship with Food, Body, and Self, and Nurture, How to Raise Kids Who Love Food, Their Body, and Themselves. Heidi has become a dear friend over the last few years, and I look forward to this conversation and excited that you get a chance to hear it as well. We're going to take a very quick sponsor break, and we'll be right back with the interview with Heidi Schauster. Hey, Heidi, how are you?
I'm great to be here with you.
I'm so excited to chat. I'm so excited to connect this way. And did you get a chance to read the letter?
I did.
Awesome. Thank you. I'm so excited to unpack Tired Caretaker's letter, because while I don't share some of the lived experience, the experience that I've had as a caretaker, I can relate so much to it.
Mm-hmm.
So let's think big picture first off. What is your general impression, Heidi, on like what this person is experiencing? What's going on?
Well, can we call her TC?
Yeah.
For ease.
Yeah. And we'll
I
save a couple seconds on the recording time.
Okay. So I was thinking, and you may have other ideas too, but I was thinking, Julie, that TC is like in that pendulum swaying that's so common, where there's a restrictive mindset and some trouble with over eating on the other side of that pendulum. So it sounds like this. She says, I feel hungry for as long as I can remember. And she also talks about eating angrily and defiantly in her history and still doing that. So it feels like there's this seesaw between underfeeding and overfeeding that is so common with our clients. Correct?
Yeah, agreed. Yeah, and the thing that when I was reading that, I kind of was thinking about it from a metaphorical standpoint, but maybe it also was literal, but like I got this picture of like the typical like misogyny that those of us who are like socialized as girls and women, like we're just taught to deny everything, right? Deny our needs, deny pleasure, put everybody else's before ours. And that's what I was thinking about, is like, no wonder you're starving. Like
Right.
you haven't been able to like meet anything. I don't know if you connected like that at all too.
Absolutely. Like this idea of, I'm thinking so much about my children and their preferences, and I have no idea even what I want to eat. I'm like really working hard to hide my challenges with food from my
Yes.
kids. And, you know, what did she say? I'm looking at the words utterly overwhelming and exhausting down to my bones, which like we all know what that feels like
Mm-hmm.
when
Mm-hmm.
we're working with little ones all the time. But I was just like, I was thinking to myself like, oh, you don't have to feel that way. Like you don't have
Mm-hmm.
to do it all. Like I think
Yes.
there's this idea that, if we're um if we are someone who identifies as a woman, that we have to do it all. We have to cook everything from scratch. We have to put the perfect meals together for our children. And I don't believe that to be true. The important thing is that we sit down and create a positive experience around food with them. It doesn't have to be special. It doesn't have to be time
Right.
consuming. We can even delegate it out. A lot of
Yes.
my like busy clients have really benefited from meal delivery services because it's cheaper than takeout, and it helps when they just don't enjoy cooking and they don't have time
Yes.
for it. So
Yes.
yeah, I think you're right. There's this idea that, if we're going to be the proper mother, then we
Yes.
do it all and we're supposed to be martyrs and exhausted. And,
Mm-hmm.
that's just not true.
Yes, the proper mother. Oh my gosh, that word, proper. Yeah, and I think the thing for me reading it, I'm one of those folks who has never really enjoyed cooking. It's just not. There's other like tasks related to taking care of my kids that I kind of enjoy. Like this may sound weird, but like I don't mind like folding laundry, doing laundry, or cleaning the dishes. Like that's great. I like that. But cooking, no, it's just not something I've ever enjoyed. And it's weird that I even became a dietitian, but here I am. And, but like the thing that I hear from this letter writer that I was excited about, and I don't mean that in like, I don't know, not some like mean way, but like honestly, in like, I think this person's like mending, but I hope they can do that for themselves. It's like they can look back and see how their mother was so worried about the choices, like the food choices and getting everything perfect, like that properness that you're describing. And like realizing TC being like, okay, I realized I really just needed the connection with my mom, not the like food police or someone directing every bite. And so I want to change it for my kids, but like that's the part that I'm like, oh, that's got to be exhausting. And you said something earlier that I wrote down, but I didn't say anything because we just kept talking. But you mentioned about how TC has to like hide this, and that's another part. I'm like, that's got to be so taxing, like to keep it hidden from your kids. And something that you write a lot about is like how families can take care of each other, and like how I know something you explored in your second book. And like, is there something that like if someone's in a place where they're like either new to recovery or they're have recovered for a long time and they're taking care of kids, like how do you recommend people do that? Do they like keep it hidden from their family? Do they share it? Or I don't know, do you have an opinion in that area?
Well,
I know it's a
that's a
big
good
one.
question. I think honestly, like our kids do not want us to be perfect.
Mm-hmm.
Because
Mm-hmm.
wow, that's so hard to live up to.
Yeah.
Right? Who wants to have a perfect parent?
Mm-hmm.
So it's okay that we're not doing it perfectly or that we have struggles. It's
Mm-hmm.
okay, to let our kids know in an age appropriate way that sometimes
Yeah.
food is hard for us. It's sometimes hard for us to get it together and
Mm-hmm.
put it together. And it's also wonderful if families can join together in that process. I don't know how young TC's children are, but
Mm-hmm.
as soon as possible, involving them
Yeah.
in the food procurement at the store, the food preparation, all of that, it might actually be more pleasant
Mhm.
for everyone. And so I don't think like hiding that there's challenges there is particularly useful.
Mhm.
I mean, obviously, we're not going to talk a ton about that, but I think it's a lot of effort to sort of hide our feelings.
Yeah,
And
I
I don't
agree.
I don't believe in that.
Mhm.
But I do think that if TC is in recovery and doing their work, and, I would, if they don't already have like an ED/RD who they're working with,
Yeah.
to support them in nourishing themselves well. Obviously, it would be nice for them to get out of this like push-pull pendulum, unpeaceful place with food. And so if they're doing their own work, that's going to spill over into the
Yeah.
relationship with their kids. And I think like it's not possible to really hide struggles from kids,
Hmm.
because as they get older, they notice things. Like
They
they notice
figure it
more than you think.
out. Yes. Now that
Yeah.
my kids are starting to be older, yes. They are like, here's the mirror, mom. we
Yes. Oh
we
yeah.
like no, yeah. And
Yeah.
the thing that I can see being really helpful working with a dietitian who like understands eating disorders, like, because I think it is a complex issue. We know there's some genetic connections to eating disorders
Mhm.
and also like societal like systems of oppression that can also push people into it. And so it
Mhm.
may be helpful. All right, well, not even may. Like I believe it's helpful to have conversations with kids that are age appropriate to
Totally.
start to like add information in. And it kind of reminds me of like things like talking about sex or racism. Like you want to, it's not just one conversation, right? It's like this
Mhm.
thing that you go through a little bit at a time. And, you know, talking to kids about like, yeah, sometimes it's hard to like remember how to take care of myself. And
Mhm.
sometimes I mess up. I think about like our kids will do that sometimes. Sometimes they'll get a tummy ache from eating too much candy or something in that moment. And so like making that just like hey, yeah, that happens. You know, we all
Yeah, we
kind of
all
mess
do
out
it.
of yeah, like this is a
Mhm.
normal part of being a human.
Yeah,
Yeah. Yeah. I think that's something.
absolutely.
Yeah. Yeah. And like giving kids the vocabulary to do that, you know, I think can be really helpful. And something else that I think is really I want to highlight in this letter was um, how this person really doesn't know what they need yet, how they've had just been conditioned to deny their needs. Is there something that you have found? And maybe it's something we can just kind of talk about together too. Is like how can people start to connect with actually what do they want if they've never been able to answer that question. And I can see that it would spill over to other things besides just like, what do I want to eat for dinner? You know?
Right. I mean, it can, like, if you're conditioned to always be looking outside of yourself
Mm-hmm.
for information about what you should be doing in any given moment, which, many of us are socialized that way, especially I think those who identify as female,
Mm-hmm.
are socialized to look outside of ourselves and be caregivers, and take care of what needs to be taken care of. And, I like that part of myself. It helps me to be it helped me to be a good mom. It helps me to be a good
Mm-hmm.
friend, like, a good therapist. That's great. But it's a skill also to be able to take a pause and to check in and say, is this really serving me right now? Is
Yeah.
this person that I'm talking to landing with me in a way that I want to stay in this conversation? Is this situation that I'm finding myself in right now actually working for me, or is it not? Is this food that I'm eating appealing or not? And
Mm-hmm.
if we're not used to checking in with ourselves, then it can be really hard to identify what it is that we need or we want. So it's a
Yeah.
practice.
Yeah.
um, and I mean, there's so many ways to be more embodied in checking in with ourselves, but it's something to learn if it's not been taught to you.
Yeah. Yeah. And
With
don't have that
caregiving.
experience. Yeah. Like I think for like typical development is we're supposed to have those experiences as kids where we kind of try things out. So
Mhm,
we have, by the time we're adults, that we
mhm,
have lots of experience. And yeah, for this person, they just don't have that experience. So
mhm.
the time could be now to start experimenting. And you know, the somatic work is a big part of how you work with clients and what you write about. Is there a part of that we can weave in for this person? Like if someone's like, I don't even know if I'm hungry, or I don't even know what it's like to be in my body. Like, where could they start?
Yeah, I mean, I trained in somatic experiencing because I
Mm-hmm.
just found that to be true for so many of
Oh,
my
yeah.
clients over the years that
Mm-hmm.
there's such a disconnection with being in the body. We can think about what it is that we might want to eat or what everybody tells us we should eat or
Yeah.
the right way to eat or not if there even isn't is a right way. Of course, we know there isn't.
Yeah.
But we can have like a brain kind of sense about feeding ourselves, but to have a whole bodied sense, it's very foreign to a lot of our clients.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes that's related to trauma and just being disconnected from the body. And sometimes that's just, again, we've learned to be a caretaker in our lives and not
Mm-hmm.
be someone who tunes in.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, I mean, I love any kind of somatic practices or therapies. I mean, I love somatic experiencing because that's my training, to help someone get more connected to sensation. And
Mm-hmm.
then when you're more connected to sensation, then it is easier to make choices about how to care for your body.
Yeah.
But it can be complicated to get connected to sensation if you've been cut off from your body for good reason to sort of support
Yes.
your survival or your
Yes.
safety in the world. Sometimes it's helpful to be cut off from our bodies.
Mm-hmm.
And so it is a lot of work to sort of get through that threat response that sometimes
Mm-hmm.
comes up when we try to tune in, if that makes sense.
Yeah, that does. And what I hear from all of that is like there's no like right or wrong way, and it's not going to be like an all or nothing experience. This is something where you can dip your toe in and do it on your own terms, and especially thinking about TC's upbringing and like in rigid diet kind of mentality, they may think that they have to do it the right way, even this part. And
Right.
yeah, there isn't. I think there's so much to be said about the person who's really working to change the trajectory of their like lineage, and I know for a lot of us that's what we're doing. We're like kind of the one of the first in the family to say no to passing on weight bias, to
Yes,
passing on diet mentality while we're still like recovering and healing our own. And
absolutely.
so heavy. That's just like such a big, heavy burden to hold. Um, I don't know. I think for me and for a lot of people, I wonder for you too, like having community is like just it makes it feel so much lighter, you
Mhm.
know?
Absolutely. And we don't have to be perfect.
Yes,
One of the things
yes.
I wrote a lot about in Nurture in my last book, which is geared towards parents and caregivers, is
Mm-hmm.
that I made so many mistakes, even being a, a eating disorder specialist for 30
Mm-hmm.
years. I still
Mm-hmm.
would say things that I would regret, or I would chase my kids out the door with their breakfast, even though I knew I shouldn't be doing that. Because it's just it's what we do sometimes as a mom.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just important to be compassionate with ourselves that
Mm-hmm.
we're learning and we're in a process of learning how to be in the world
Yeah.
with these children that we're supporting. And, we don't always get it right.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
it's okay.
No,
It's okay.
nobody is. Yeah, like nobody's getting it right. Even with all the
Yeah.
education and experience and helping people unpack it. Yeah, I totally with you on that too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I think if you can say to your child, I was just hating on my body a moment ago, and I'm trying not to do that. I wish I hadn't done that in
Yes.
front of you. I'm sorry. I'm going to
Yes.
try to say something nice, you know, to
Hmm.
myself now instead.
Yes. That is
That
so great.
little moment is so useful. We don't have to be
Yes.
perfect, but we want to catch ourselves in a space where, um, we have a moment where we could sort of teach them something about a different way. Because we're certainly
Hmm.
going to hear a lot of diet culture and a lot of body loathing out in the world. So if we catch ourselves saying something negative, then we can do some repair around it with the kids.
Yeah.
It can be really valuable.
One of the things that I've read a lot about is how we're both Gen Xers, right? So like and our generation, we're like a lot of us are the first ones in our family to say we're sorry to our kids and it just and normalize it. And what I hear
Yeah,
with that one
Yeah.
is saying sorry to yourself. Like, and just being transparent. I think that teaches so much. Like, that's such a beautiful thing that you just shared, because I think it does. It shows like how to say sorry, how to be accountable, how to acknowledge your imperfections, and to tolerate all of that. I mean, that's yeah. And I have a feeling TC's doing so much of that already. And I don't know. I want to give TC a high five.
Yeah, me
You're
too.
doing the good work. Yeah.
I think that like this, like, you make me so anxious and demoralized, that comes up at the end.
Mm-hmm.
And like, TC's human, and food is complicated, and food gets more complicated when you have to feed a
Mm-hmm.
family. Um, I think just the fact that you're even thinking about it, and trying to try to move through a place where there might be some more peace there, and there might be some more
Mm-hmm.
transparency.
Yeah. Well, before we wrap up, there's one more thing I want to add to that, because I don't know. Yeah, we can't tell from the letter how old the children are.
Right.
I don't know what I pictured, like younger, like elementary age or younger, like where you are sitting down and having meals together, or at least like preparing the meals still for the kids. And my kids are teenagers, and yours are like off.
20.
Yeah, they're
Yeah.
not
2
teenagers
and a half.
anymore. Yeah.
Yeah.
So something that I can appreciate is like there's seasons where it's really hard and exhausting, and it changes. So
Yes.
I wish someone would have told me that whenever I would hear my young kids be like, "Mom, what's for dinner?" And I'd be like, "Oh my gosh." Like, and it's so much easier now that we can, I don't know, have some dialogue, and I have more practice, and yeah, so I would imagine for
They
two.
can maybe even cook themselves.
Yeah, I think I'm raising children though that don't enjoy cooking either. No, I shouldn't say that, because it's really just my oldest. My younger one does enjoy cooking, but that's okay. That's okay. And but it's just it's not as hard. It doesn't feel as complicated and urgent. Like there's just more leeway. I don't know, when they get older, and then I would assume the same for you. Like it's just a different season. Yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
absolutely. It gets easier. And it also, but I think if you sort of have if you set the foundation
Mm-hmm.
that, food is the way we fuel our bodies, like we need to feed ourselves regularly in order to live and
Mm-hmm.
feed our brains and our bodies in the world.
Mm-hmm.
It's important, but it's not the most important thing in the world. And it doesn't
Yeah.
have to be perfect. It just has to be present,
Yes.
every 3 to
Yes.
5 hours or so. I think if
Yes.
we're going to have this, like, chill mindset about food with our children, then they grow up in a place where they have more of a chill mindset too.
Yeah.
And there's of course other influences out there that we can't do much about, but if we can keep open dialogue so that when they do see something on social, that some weird diet, they might ask about it.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's a good point. Like set the stage just for more conversation. Yeah, I always want my kids to feel like they have enough. Like I'm like, was that enough lunch that I packed? Was that enough dinner? Like, was that enough food? Like, I feel like for me, that's just been my priority. And then
Mm-hmm.
I can't meet all the other ones. I don't know how many fruits and vegetables
Yep.
they're getting, enough fluids, whatever. I don't know. But like, was there enough food? I feel like if I can do that, check that box off, that I feel like most of the
That's the
time,
most
that's great.
important thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's the
Like
most
your
important.
job is to make sure that, you're providing for
Mm-hmm.
them so that they can thrive in their
Mm-hmm.
lives. I think
Yeah,
that's the most important thing. And
I agree.
we're both, nutritionists saying
Yeah,
this too. So
yeah, yeah, exactly.
it doesn't have to be so pretty or perfect or
Mm,
balanced all the time. It just
mm-mm.
has to be available. And
Enough.
I think the attitude about feeding and the whole process of bringing food to the table,
Mm-hmm.
if that stays like kind of fundamentally peaceful, that's the most important thing. It sounds like TC is really trying to do that.
Yeah, exactly. I think they're doing it, and they'd probably. It would be cool if they could like take a step outside of their life and look in and see how they're actually doing it. But TC, we are here to tell you that's what you're doing. Like you're doing it. You're doing it. So before we end, I want to make sure the listener knows about what you're working on, and also in particular your TikTok, because Your videos are hysterically funny. The ones that you have your brother edit are so good.
Yeah.
Do you not think they're funny?
I'm glad you think they're funny. No. I mean, they're strategic.
But check them out for sure.
If somebody had told me a year ago that I was going to be doing videos on Instagram and TikTok and YouTube, I would have been like, yeah, right.
They're great.
I'm too old. But when you like, I'm trying to write a third book right now for young adults. And so I'm wanting to increase my platform of younger people.
Yeah. Reach the message.
Trying to appeal to a younger audience and add a little lightness and have a little fun. And and my brother's been helpful because he's used to doing this sort of thing.
He's hysterical, like the things that he does. So we'll put a link to your TikTok in there. But yeah, tell us about the books you already have out. And I'm glad that you mentioned that the one that you're working on, because I think that's one that's going to fill a big need. But yeah, Nourish and Nurture. Tell us about those.
Okay. Yeah. Nourish, I wrote in 2018. And Nurture came out last year. It's Nourish is for, anyone who's doing their healing work on food, body, and self. And Nurture is for parents. And
it's for like TC. Yeah. This is like
TC. Yes. Exactly. And I tried to provide a compassionate, but, with some authority, given the work that I've done in the field, ideas about how to feed kids in a way that raises them to appreciate food and appreciate their bodies and themselves, given the world that we live in, given this like selfie oriented culture that we live in. So yeah, that's, those are the two books that I have out now. And I'm really trying to also write now for a young adult audience, because I just think they're being targeted so much by social media and by the self-care industry.
Self-care industry.
All their money on the things. And they don't realize that actually, caring for themselves is so much more. It's like, it's really an inner experience. So that's where I'm at now. That's what I'm writing about.
Love it. So if someone wants to get a taste of your writing, where can they find you?
I'm on Substack.
Okay.
My Substack is Nourishing Words with Heidi Schauster. So you can find me on Substack if you like Substack. And my website is, it's anourishingword.com.
Got it. We'll put all those in the links below. No problem. Thank you so much for your time and helping me unpack this letter and, sharing all the wisdom you have.
Thank you so much for having me, Julie.
Yes, my pleasure. I know. It was fun to chat. Thank you. All right, listener, don't quite end the episode yet because food has written back to TC. But I hope you enjoyed this episode. I hope you enjoyed the chat with my good friend, Heidi Schauster, and definitely check out her Substack. I'm going to try to arrange a Substack Live with Heidi so we can dive deeper into this conversation and you can connect with us there. So if you haven't joined me on Substack, I encourage you to do so. There are lots of different benefits to joining me there, whether you're a free or a paid subscriber. Namely, you get access to these episodes without any dynamic ads put in. So that's a win, right? And if you have the ability to become a paid subscriber of Find Your Food Voice, you will continue to help me to be able to do podcasting and writing as my full-time job, pay my team a living wage, and support me and my family. So we appreciate any support you can give us along the way. All right. I see food has written back, but I want to say goodbye until next time, and I'll be back in 2 weeks with another episode of Find Your Food Voice.
Taking the good with the ups and downs.
Dear tired caretaker, we see your pain. You're carrying such a heavy, uncomfortable burden. What if you could break it up into smaller pieces? Taking time to acknowledge, care for, and repair your complicated relationship with food and body that has been passed on to you for many generations. How would that impact that daily question? What's for dinner, Mom? You don't have to pretend. You can connect with different levels of support on your terms. Tending to this deeper relationship will help you take off that mask, be real, and help your family connect to their own food voice. Love, food. Thank you for listening to the Find Your Food Voice podcast. It is written, edited, and produced by me, Julie Duffy Dillon. Show notes and social media is all run by Rachel Popick, and Colleen Bremner joins us for some episodes and helps us behind the scenes as well. I so appreciate the team, and they really make this show shine. So thank you guys. We look forward to being in your ears in the next 2 weeks. Until then, take care.
If you're a podcast host, listen up, this one's for you. My name is Allie Jackson. I'm the host of Finding Mr. Height, a dating and relationship podcast that I've been doing for 4 years now, sharing my positive and practical approach to dating that's built on my own life experience. And I wanted to share another experience that I've had, my secret behind monetizing my show. It's called Red Circle, and I was just telling my colleague about how much I love their platform. With Red Circle, not only am I getting a seamless hosting experience, but I also love the support I receive in ad sales. It's not just typical ad sales either. It's targeted opportunities based on my show and my life. And the platform is super simple. You just set your preferences and Red Circle matches you with sponsors that align with your show. You can vet every opportunity and their platform gives you great analytics. More recently too, my Red Circle team has brought me opportunities outside of my podcast on social media to really augment the podcast partnerships, bring them full circle. I just can't recommend them enough. If you want to give it a try, go to redcircle.com to get your free trial. That's redcircle.com for a free trial.